Hey, Will, how are you, man?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. You're pretty good at this podcasting thing these days.
Oh, comes naturally. Nah.
What's happening? How's the weekend?
Oh, it was actually tame for the first time in a while. Didn't go to the SB.
You didn't go to the SB this weekend?
No, I didn't.
Geez, they would have been down on their drink sales.
Yeah, well, I had to be fresh for today, so that wouldn't have done me any good.
I love that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Yeah, good, bro. I'm good. Just cruising
Cruising along?
as usual.
Yeah, good. We're friends.
Are we? Yeah, we are. Good enough.
To give context as well of our incredible friendship, you started coming in maybe, what do we would say, maybe 8 weeks ago?
Yeah, I'd say 2
maybe
months.
2 months ago. So you're coming in, getting a bit of experience in the podcast world.
Yep.
Doing a bit of stuff, and you sat in on a few episodes. I think you listened to Dave Asprey's episode a few times.
Yeah, probably about 3 now.
You listened to that
4.
one 3 times,
Yeah.
but none other ones. You haven't listened to one other one besides Dave Asprey.
No, I like to learn them word for word.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's super weird.
I watched the Dylan Alcott one.
Oh, you watched Dylan Alcott?
That's a new favourite.
What'd you think of that?
Out of the 2 I've watched.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, he's a good guy. Big fan.
Have you met him?
I haven't yet, no. I've texted him a few times.
Yeah.
But haven't met him yet. So,
Yeah. Unbelievable guy.
yeah, I'm keen to meet him.
Mate is a star.
Mum's met him a few times, so
Yeah.
well, quite a lot. I've heard good things.
No, he's a champion. I'm sure you'll cross paths very soon. Hey, to give context of you and who you are, Will Murray, Emma Murray's son. Sorry, Emma Murray is your mother.
Yes.
I used to hate this as well, like when people would always refer me as Jim Buckley's son. Does that annoy you?
Oh,
Because I like to think now that he's my dad.
I've got some pretty big shoes to fill with Mum, so
Yeah.
get there. Maybe I kill this podcast, we can start referring to
I'm sure you
Mum as
will.
my mum.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And
Yeah.
give us a bit about you, your situation, and what we're going to talk about today. Because I think today's a big one, man. Like you started coming, as I said, you're doing some experience without telling your story yourself, and just briefly, like you're in a wheelchair, and you've never spoken to anyone about sort of your life. Your story to this date, and
Not publicly.
not
no,
publicly.
no.
Yeah, so like to come in, I didn't actually think I even asked you on the show. I think you just demanded to come on, which I liked.
I think we were.
I really liked, but
Hang on. No, we were. I saw you had me down as the stories we wanted, so I'm like, fine, I'll help him out. It'll be all right.
Give us a bit about yourself, what we like as a kid growing up, how many brothers and sisters, where'd you grow up? Melbourne boy, Sandringham boy?
I'm a Sandringham
Bayside.
boy. Moved around there a few times, but not out of Sandringham. I'm moving to Hampton next year though, so big move, one suburb over. Yeah, so Sandy boy lived with a family of, geez, how big is it now? 6? 6, yeah. So 2, little brother, little sister, older sister. So always madness in the house. Been to school there, I'm very local. And yeah, it's good. I like it down there. It's very quiet.
It is. It's one of those, I think I've said this multiple times, and I've got nothing against the south side of Bayside. Love it. It's just not my neck of the woods, so I don't think we ever would have crossed paths really. We sort of meet in the middle.
Where are you now?
I'm north side.
Yeah, there's a bit of a conflict thing.
Well, it's just different,
Bayside,
different
north
people.
side.
Yeah, different people. What were your interests growing up? I know you're a very humble man.
Oh yeah.
Not really, but I've actually been speaking to your old man, your mum, who is a really good friend of mine, and obviously really somewhat familiar with your story of just public knowledge, but in terms of playing footy and sport growing up, I've actually seen some highlight tapes as well this morning that would nearly rival mine, I reckon.
I reckon we should. Yeah, can we put them up neck and neck?
We
on
will
the
put them up
screen
neck and neck and see which one was. I reckon you're bigger than me.
Let's have a poll. Oh, not hard. Like different builds, but yeah, loved sport.
Yeah.
Always had some footy or basketball in hand. Was playing footy. That was probably the first sport I took up.
Yeah.
With dad. Would be kicking the footy in the backyard since I was like 3 or 4. That was always a favourite. Did BMX a lot as a kid.
Now, where'd that one come from?
I don't know really.
Like racing or like,
I don't really
like
know.
skate parks or
Nah,
racing?
so like BMX. Have you seen the Olympic one?
Yeah, like
over
race,
the hectic jumps and all that. Yeah. I don't really know how you get into that. Dad obviously likes to cycle, but I don't know. It was a weird one, but I loved it. Did that for a few years. It got to a point where I had to pick between that and footy, and so I just picked footy because BMX is not much. You do a lot of traveling for like 5-6 minutes of actual bike riding in a whole night. So footy was definitely the one for me. Picked up basketball for a few years. and then again had to pick footy over that. So yeah, footy was definitely the main one. Played for Vic, under 12s, so got a lot of close mates that have now playing AFL. I don't know if you've had any on here.
Who are they?
Will Phillips, Tanner Bruin. Who else is there? Archie Perkins, one of my best mates. He wasn't in the Vic team though. I think it was emergency for that team. I grew up with Archie. We were neighbours only up until last year.
There you go.
Now that he's moved out. But yeah, footy and those boys, yeah. It's a pretty cool sport, footy. It's a pretty small community when you think about it.
It is, man. And the friends you meet through it are like lifelong. I look back through all my stuff and like the guys that I still hang out with the most are guys that I played not even AFL with, but more like junior football.
Yeah.
It's such a big time of your life where you're like really meeting a lot of your good friends.
Yeah, I think that's what it's best for. I don't really miss the footy part of it so much anymore. I've kind of gotten over that. Definitely the friends that you get from it.
Community factor, change rooms and
that's the stuff you don't lose. So definitely one on that side of it. It was good, yeah.
We'll get through into your story today, and definitely what you've been through, what you're going through now, and how and goals and everything for the future, and all the progress that you've made in that space. But where do you sit at the moment with that part of your life? Like, is that been sort of challenging part to not be playing footy and the love of the sport that you do anymore?
Yeah, it gets easier.
Yeah.
But, it comes and goes because, your footy's everywhere. So, like, there's always going to be a time where you're watching, like, fuck, it'd be all right to be out there or stuff like that. And especially when your friends that you grew up with, when they get drafted and stuff, you're like, wouldn't mind being there with them and all that. But, as soon as you learn to, like I said, I'm much happier now that I've learned that, there were bigger things to come out of it than just playing.
Yeah.
It does make it a lot easier. But, I mean, it'll never really go away. Like, I played sport so much, I always have that fire to go and, compete and stuff. But it's not as bad as it used to be, especially because when I had my accident, I was 13. So that's when you're really stepping up in footy, especially. That's when it starts to get serious. So, I always heard that I didn't get to keep going, but I don't know. As soon as you get over that hump and realise that there's more to it, then, it's a lot easier to not worry about too much.
100%. Talk us, maybe to give context, and then we can go on with the rest of your story. I think it'd be cool to talk about the incident itself. Like, do you remember the day? Like, what was going on? Do you have much memory of everything?
The day itself's pretty patchy. That probably because I hit my head pretty bad. So yeah, I was at the beach with some mates, dove head first off the pier, blacked out for a second, woke back up, face down underwater. That was pretty interesting. Those few seconds felt like bloody 5 hours being underwater, trying to roll over, couldn't. I was a bit confused, and then some guy came in and got me out. So props to him. But yeah, it's all patchy. You kind of got like little screenshots in my head of it, kind of waking back up on the beach, and then don't really remember anything after that. In the ambo for about 1 second, and then I was taken to hospital straight into surgery. So like the only thing I remember before that, I think I was begging mum to give me water before the surgery, but they wouldn't let me drink water, and I'd taken on a lot of salt water. I was swallowing the water when I was face down because in my head I was gonna drink the whole ocean before I'd run out of air. So that was not my smartest decision. And then I was in a coma for a few days after that. And then I just remember my first day I remember is my birthday. So it happened the week before my birthday, 1 week exactly before my birthday. So I only remember little glimpses of after the coma. It was a pretty rough week because after swallowing all that water, it gave me bad pneumonia.
Oh, fuck.
And because of my injury, my diaphragm wasn't working properly. So I couldn't breathe properly, and I couldn't cough anything up. So I just had all this water sitting in my lungs, which was actually probably the worst out of everything. And then after a few nights of fighting that, finally got over that. And then, I remember my birthday all right, because that's when the first time I saw my friends, or I think I saw them. That's like, I think a few of them visited me while I was out cold. That was a tough week. And then obviously the few days after that, after my birthday, and then coming to terms with everything, that was pretty tough.
Yeah.
But it actually wasn't as bad in the first few days because I didn't really know what was going on. So when they told me what had happened, I didn't really believe it. I didn't really take it on board. I was like, oh, it'll be like anything. The doctors just tell you how like the worst of it, and it's always better than it is. And then it kind of sunk in a bit after how serious the next few weeks were.
Going back, before we get there, going back just to the moment at the beach.
Yeah.
So you with your mates?
Yep. So I was with I think I was with three of my mates.
Three of your mates.
Yeah.
So you jump off, hit your head on the ground.
Mm.
How long do you think you were underwater for?
So my mate dove off. I dove off straight after him, but I duck dived. He didn't. Hit my head. I definitely blacked out. Not sure how long. And I woke up. I remember just like seeing how clear the water was. It's like you take like, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I've obviously seen my head. I'm like, oh, I'll flip back over and get out. And then I try to twist myself over and nothing was happening. And I tried again and again. Like, oh shit, that's not too good.
Mm. And the guy that actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but the guy that saved you, you've never actually seen him again.
Yeah, so
you was a complete stranger.
So I was under, and then as I said, I started drinking the water because I was literally just trying to breathe underwater, and I kind of stopped. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna just wait and hope for the best now. And then this guy comes and grabs me and flips me over, and he's trying to talk to me, and I'm just yelling at him, oh, you saved my life, you saved my life, you saved my life, thank you. And then took me to the shore, and I've never seen him since. So if he's out there, I would definitely like to.
That's unbelievable.
Meet up with him.
Yeah. Well, hopefully if someone's out there today listening,
yeah,
and they know who that was, we'd love to be able to.
That'd be pretty cool.
Do you remember what he looked like?
He was bald. I remember that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Unless I was already delusional at that point. But he was bald. I haven't seen him since.
Yeah, unbelievable. And where were you? Whereabouts was it?
So Half Moon Bay.
Yep.
Down at their yacht club, I think it is. That was our spot. Growing up, we were always jumping off that pier, so it was nothing new to us.
Unusual, yeah.
It was packed as well. Like hot summer's day, 50 people on the pier, which probably was a good thing instead of that happening when no one was around. But yeah, half moon, so it was completely nothing new to us. And then just
freak accident.
Yeah,
freak accident. When you got to, and I'll just keep because I want to try and get the story as much as I can. When you got to the hospital, what was like the diagnosis, or when you first found out exactly what had actually happened physically to your body? Yeah,
so actually, the first thing that they thought had happened. So my injury is a sort of spinal cord injury.
Yeah,
and so when I hit my head on the sandbank, my neck broke and the bones that broke then were putting pressure on my spinal cord, and so that's how the damage in the spinal cord happens. So that bruised my spinal cord and damaged it a bit, but it didn't like cut the spinal cord in half, which is called a complete spinal injury. Mine's incomplete.
Yep.
But at first in hospital, they thought my injury was a complete spinal cord injury. So it was a lot scarier than what it ended up being at first.
Yeah. And what would, like, for those out there who don't know, what would be the difference?
So with a complete spinal cord injury, that means basically most cases, or if not all cases, there's literally no movement from below the injury site in the body. Whereas incomplete, you can
get movement back,
or you don't lose movement in some spots. So being incomplete, I've been able to get a lot of that movement that I lost on those first few months back. But yeah, so that's the first thing they thought. I was still pretty out of it, so I don't really know how they came to that and how that changed. I'm not really sure. Would have been having discussions with my parents and stuff. Yeah, it was a relief when they changed their mind.
Yeah. Have you ever spoke to your mum and dad about their experience of the situation?
I actually haven't really, or at all. Not really, no, because it hasn't really been a moment to sit back and reflect yet.
We've spoke, like, I suppose, in our time just chatting in the studio when you've been coming in and doing work and stuff, and probably should have mentioned this a little bit more at the start, but you haven't really spoken to many people about this. Like, why today? Why a podcast is the first time to do it?
Yeah, well, I definitely haven't spoken publicly at all about it. To this extent, I've really only ever opened up a bit to my closest friends, and even to most of them, it's not really like in full at all. I don't know. Yeah, as I said to you the other week, it's like, I think with this, it's something I would never fully be ready to do until I just do it.
Yeah.
And obviously being 13 when it happened, I was definitely way too young to hop straight into talking about stuff and trying to share anything that I've learned at that age. But now I feel like, I'm matured a fair bit. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's a good time to start and see where it goes, because it's a unique story. So I've definitely come to terms that it's something that some people might want to hear. So I feel like, with my best mate across the room, it's not a bad place to start.
No, I'm on it, mate. I really am. It's incredible that you feel comfortable enough with us and Darcy and Sam to sit down and do it. And I just wanted to make a point that we definitely don't take that for granted today. And hopefully we can do the story justice. And I know for you today from chatting, it's just it's a starting point. I know you can't see it yet, but the amount of impact that you can have on people, and are already having on people, but might not even know it yet, is immensible. So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to keep going. And then again, this isn't meant to be a glossy chat. Like, it's not we haven't, we put this through. You put a lot of this run sheet down together because we were coming in and we're like, let's do the show, let's have a chat. And then I was like, fuck, maybe let's get you to put your own run sheet together. Let's get you to put down your story and we'll just get through it how we can, because it's hard for both of us today. Yeah. Like, it's something that we've both never really done before. So it's going to be a bit all over the shop, but I'm really excited to just get through and get through whatever we can with it.
Yeah, same, man. I think I'm learning a fair bit as well.
100%. And won't be the last. Yeah, definitely. So when you were saying before as well about you had found out about the compression, so the bruising of the spinal cord, so you found out, okay, there's some good news in that case. You wake up, you're coming out of your coma, a few of your friends are around. I can imagine that time would have been a bit hectic.
Yeah, it was a bit of
And sorry, just realising as well, like at that time, this was a massive, not just in your friendship, but like a massive news story, like all over the world. Like, you had people reaching out from everywhere.
Yeah. It blew up a fair bit actually. I was just kind of trying to, come to terms with stuff, and started getting messages from, like, who did I get on my birthday? There was
Steph Curry?
Steph Curry. So Luke Darcy was over there for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly what he was doing, but he was obviously doing some media stuff, and then he ran into Steph Curry, got him to send a message, and then after the game, he's somehow gotten into the locker room of the Denver Broncos, and I'm a mad NFL fan. So he's gotten Peyton. So these guys just won the Super Bowl. He's gotten Peyton Manning and Von Miller, who's just won the Norm Smith of the NFL.
Wow.
and they've sent messages, and Von Miller's is like a hectic American, like 6'7" linebacker, just this massive G up message. It was pretty cool. I think there was a tweet from Shaq, and then obviously a heap of guys in the footy world were sending their love. So that was good. That was very uplifting. Not long after, there was something at the hospital where they were coming in, and so a few of them came and visited. A lot of the Richmond boys came in, the Essendon boys. Brendan Goddard asked me to run out with him on his 300th.
Huge.
That was pretty spectacular. That was one of the cooler moments of it all. But yeah, that was a bit of light for those few weeks. I don't really know. I reckon it'd be a bit different if that I wasn't getting that much support. And then obviously my friends, that was a different story. They were actually there every day pretty much. I think they had to put a limit on how many visits I could have at some point.
I think your mum was saying nearly like the school was shuttling kids out.
It was absurd. They were they were first ones in, and then when all the hype kind of slowed down a bit, they were the ones still coming.
Yeah,
which was good.
If you're happy to go into it, I know that even from experience in any sort of like adversity that you face, like always the first like week or two there's a lot there, and there's a lot of people that are supporting and want to show their best. But then the hardest part maybe of like, I don't want to say, the hardest part of adversity is probably like the next period, that like bit where things do slow down and you start to become more just like you, your mates and your family, and it gets a bit more narrow focused. Was there a time like that where it started to sink in more for just yourself?
Yeah, well, so they wanted me to stay in the hospital. So after I was in I was in the coma, then in ICU, they're in their intensive care unit.
Yeah.
That's where I had my birthday, and I was there for 2 weeks maybe. That was easily the shittest part of it all.
Yeah.
But that was all a massive blur to me. Then they moved me down to one of their wards. That's when it kind of started to get like, all right, now you got to like start learning how to live with this. And they wanted me to stay in the hospital, I think, for 9 to 12 months. Not sure why. I think that's just their usual protocol with a spinal cord injury.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
How long did you do?
We did 3 months. So I think that's the quickest ever someone with a spinal injury has gotten out of that hospital.
I think this says it pretty stubborn, pretty clearly in that, but you're a pretty stubborn motherfucker. Like even the fact of now, not to jump in, but you have not really followed a trend of a normal injury the whole time.
Yeah, since the get-go, we haven't really followed
a traditional path.
The traditional path that they want you to follow, starting in the hospital. So they're in hospital. Their aim is to teach you how to live with an injury, with like what it is. They teach you that. They want you in there for so long. So once you're out, you can just live with the injury forever, and you can just go on about life with the injury. Straight away, we're like, fuck that. Like, and mum drove that the most probably. I think mum nearly got kicked out of the hospital like 3 times. Like, there's a thing called a code grey in the hospital. It's basically when someone's going psycho. They threatened mum a few times with that we're going to call a code grey on you, which is pretty funny.
What was she doing?
She's in the room, just like going off it. Now the nurses, they were lovely people. Like, of course, nothing against them. They're just doing their job. But mum, being mum, obviously was never satisfied with anything. So she was just getting a bit up and about, and just started yelling at the wrong people. And they threatened her with that. That was good. Actually, I hated it. I was just looking out the window the other way, trying to ignore it. But now it's funny. As soon as they started with me to try and teach me the whole ways of living with it. I just fucked out. Like, would spend here as absolutely minimal time as possible.
Yeah. And at that stage as well, by the way, so since, I've met you now, and you're a very capable young man. Like, you get around, you can do your thing, you got movement in really well, good movement in your arms, like everything like that. But that wasn't the case. So that this has been like a long journey to get to this stage, hasn't it?
So
how were you at that stage, like in the hospital?
For the first few weeks, I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't scratch my own nose. Couldn't do any of that. And that was the scariest part, because it's it's such an unsure injury, and every case is different. It's not like you break your arm or you do your knee and they can be like, do this and that, wait this long and you'll be fine. It's really just like, you've got to find out yourself. So that was a bit daunting, not being able to be told like what the fuck's going on and how long I have to wait for anything. And then the rehab at the hospital isn't like, so I've just like grown up playing hectic sport and, you know, vigorous sport, and then the rehab in the hospital that they're throwing me into is doing like, just move your arm like 5 times a day or some shit like that.
So for someone that was as capable as you to then doing that must...
It was frustrating and very demotivating. Like, you'd rather just do nothing because you get absolutely nothing out of it. So that was the hardest part of the whole hospital experience. There was nothing really like, there was nothing. Like, I wasn't looking forward to anything, nothing like to get me through a day. It was just lie there and wait. So as soon as we decided to come out after 3 months, that was the best decision we made. Because as soon as we got out, we could just jump straight into doing what we wanted to do. Because as it's so hit and miss, like, we're just like, well, we're probably better off trying to find out ourselves which path to go down. So yeah, we got out of hospital after 3 months and moved into our grandparents' house because we were renovating our house in Sandy. And fortunate enough, our grandparents at the time lived in Sandringham as well, Mum's mum and dad. The unfortunate part was that it was a house made for 2 people, not for 8. So I lived in my grandparents' living room for 2 years because our house kept getting delayed. So that was a very character building experience for everyone in the family. But it was much better than the hospital, so definitely grateful that we could do it there instead of having to wait. And, you know, it was fun every now and then with 8 people in the house. There's always some sort of noise.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
How many years now is the official? Is it?
We're coming up to 7.
7 years.
Yeah.
From the incident to where you are now, how would you like describe that trajectory? Has it been a linear path? Has there been ups and downs?
Yeah, definitely an up and down one.
Yeah. Because
there's no end point yet. It's always just been up and down. Like, there's always something new to learn, and there's always a challenge to overcome. It's gotten a lot easier than what it was at the start because we've learned so much. So when we've overcome the hardest parts.
What are the hardest parts?
Just kind of figuring it, like kind of learning everything about the whole world of spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of like find your feet there a bit, you can kind of go off. We just went off and did our own thing, took our own path with rehab. So, you know, we got a specialist come from the States to kind of teach. We got a few PTs in, just to teach them a few basic rehab stuff in spinal cord injury. And then we just took what we learned from them and then went off and kind of mix and match and did our own thing with that. And did that for a few years. But it still wasn't like pushing me hard enough. I didn't feel I wasn't coming out of a rehab session being like, oh, I want to go and do that again. So we kind of ramped it up a bit and kind of took a whole new approach. We did like a gym approach where kind of went down the PT's path, and we just kept those the basics involved like the stuff that we had to get done just to keep me healthy and stuff, and then just turn it really into just like doing normal gym. So that was a big change for me, and that's probably one of the best things we decided to do, and that is what we're still doing now, just staying fit and healthy. But yeah, back to the whole trajectory of it. It's just up and down. Like not as many downs anymore. Like it's definitely gotten a lot easier, just because we're a lot more experienced in the whole situation, and I cope a lot better with it now because I now have those kind of escapes. Like can go to the gym, I can go with friends freely, a lot more freely now than what I would have used to have to be. It was doing things was a lot more stressful and harder back then. Yeah, because
like going out with mates and just integrating. Yeah,
I was
was that from a physical point of view, or more of just like were you just like questioning yourself?
Physical,
going out?
Yeah. That didn't help, but I was very hesitant. I was pretty scared for a few years.
Yeah. Of like people or what could happen?
It wasn't embarrassment. It was more just like it was almost just being too shy to like face the world again.
Yeah.
Just because of what what my life before was like. I was very independent. I didn't really like to rely on anyone. And now you get thrown into this new life of you can't do anything without the help of another person.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the fact that I'd have to be out and I'd always have to make sure someone else was keeping tabs on me. But my friends were really good with that. They were really understanding. Without me even knowing, they kind of just like took the approach of like they could have taken the approach of, oh, we're gonna like treat him like what's happened, and we're gonna look after him like his little kid. Like no, they didn't do that. They were like, oh, it's still Will. Like who the fuck? Like it almost annoyed me a bit. They'd push me pretty hard.
That's good.
Yeah.
And looking now, like, is that something that for you has been a big one? Just like people just treating you as normal as possible.
Yeah. There's always going to be people who don't really know how to approach you.
Yeah.
Which is so fair enough. Like it's just a normal thing. Like if you don't know someone, you don't know how they want to be treated. But my friends, they knew how I would have wanted it without me knowing. Yeah. So definitely my closest mates, they're always like, if I didn't want to come out, they'd be like, nah, you're coming, you don't have a choice. And all, and if we were out and I was like, oh, I don't want to go do this or that, they'd be like, nah, come on. Like all this, it was good. Back then I didn't appreciate it, but now I definitely do. Because if it wasn't for what they did then, I wouldn't be able to do the stuff I do on my own now. Yeah. Just because they gave me that confidence and stuff that without their help I would never have found. So that was a lot. That was a lot of help from them. That was a big part of moving forward. But yeah, there'll always be people that they treat you like you need the help, which is fine. If you just teach them how you want them to treat you, and they'll learn quick enough that that's not the way like you want them to treat you. So
yeah. Can I ask this? Has there been a part, and I'd be surprised if there wasn't, and it'd be interesting to your take over the whole journey where early days you just sat back and you're like, why me? Like why did this happen? And you can get into that why me mindset of just thinking the world's against you.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably been the biggest hurdle I wouldn't say that I've overcome. It's the one that you have to continually like jump over. I think that's probably one of the best things you can learn about that is for anyone in any situation, I think if they can realize that it's not just one big hump to get over a why me mindset. I think if you realize it's going to keep coming back, and I still get it all the time, like heaps. It's a tough one because sometimes it can hit you harder than what it did the day before or the week before. But sometimes I find if you just maybe one day to get over it, you just got to look back at what you had and then look at what you got now, and you know sometimes you'll be like, fuck, like
Look how far I've come.
yeah. Sometimes you'll dwell on it and be like, oh, I had it all and now I don't. But then if you can learn to find the things that you've got now in any situation and not compare it with the situation before, then it's pretty easy to get out of that mindset quickly. So basically, I just find that if I can appreciate the stuff I've got now, like, you know, my friends, family, all that, the opportunities I've had, like, look, I'm on the fucking Dyl Friends. But no, if you can appreciate the stuff you get to do now and that you've even got from the situation you're in, then it's not overly the worst thing to happen, the whole why me thing, because, you know, you can keep finding new stuff that you can be grateful for.
100%.
So that's definitely it's up and down, that one.
Yeah.
It's not a fun mindset to have to go through, but you can learn a lot about yourself if you can find the gaps in it and learn to appreciate those small things.
You've mentioned your friends and your family being the two, you know, biggest supports of that and helping you through the whole process. Like, have you found anything over the period recently or in the past that's been like the biggest help for you? Like, what helps you the most be your best sense of self? Like, do you know, obviously your mum's one of the best performance mindset coaches in Australia. I know you don't do a lot of that at home.
No, I don't. I don't with mum.
when you're getting the same dish served, maybe you don't enjoy it as much as I do. But you know, obviously, I enjoy her stuff a lot. Is that something that you've done, or any bits and pieces like that?
I haven't done it with mum, but mum's obviously got good connections in that world. Yep. So I've definitely done some similar stuff with some other people. One of mum's friends, I started doing some meditation, a lot of meditation work. What was this, back in 2017? Got really into that. I actually, for that year, did it a lot with Dusty Martin.
Dusto?
Because at that time, he was seeing mum a lot because mum was working at Richmond and he was always around. And then we just crossed paths one time and decided to start meditating together. So we just for that year of 2017, which I think was that big killer year.
Best year,
yeah. Every week we were meditating together, just at home, which was pretty cool. He's a real
good guy.
He's a much different guy to what you see him as on what they make him out to be on TV.
That's awesome.
And what he is on the footy field.
What were you doing? Like, what exactly were you doing? Like, were you? Who was the coach?
I don't even know how to explain what profession it is. It's just meditation, but it was just we just changed it up every week to kind of what we like.
Whatever you were doing at that week,
It's like sometimes a place to be calm and relax, or to zone in on something that wanted to get done over the coming,
like a bit of visualization, a bit of mindfulness, a bit of everything. Whatever was needed.
It was more, instead of it being a task for us to do, it was more of a tool we could use.
Yeah,
to get stuff done. Just for what we needed.
Did he give you his Norm Smith?
He did after that granny. That was pretty cool. I think there's a pretty cool photo of him coming down the race after they just won, and he runs over through a pack of people and gives a big hug. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
And in the rooms just after he gave me the Norm Smith, I think I held on to it for 4 or 5 months after that. It's pretty funny. I think he just gave me the Norm and just ran off to whatever he was doing in that off season. I didn't know if he wanted me to keep it or not, but I definitely couldn't. So I gave that one back to him. But
he's got a few. Surely you could. He's given you one.
I'd key one. But it was pretty cool just having it. One of the best players of all time, having his Norm Smith in my room for half a year.
That's unbelievable. You're friends with a few big dogs, and obviously one of Australia's icons, the late Shane Warne as well. I know he did some incredible gestures for you and the fam.
Shane was a massive part of everything for
me
and the family. From very early on.
How did that come about?
I don't know if mum had much connection with him at the time. I know that my dad's decent friend is really close with Shane's brother.
Yep.
But one of my best friends is Shane's youngest daughter, Summer.
Yep.
And we've been super close since I was in year 5 or 6. So whatever the connection was, he had his foundation after my accident. He found that he was closing or stopping his foundation. So he just gave all the money that they had left in it to me.
Fuck.
Which I'm not exactly sure how much it was, but it was a lot of money.
For just everything needed.
Just whatever we needed it for. So that was a game changer for me.
That's fucking huge.
Yeah, massive.
Did you meet, obviously you met him.
So I met him in hospital very early on. And then he visited me once when I was back at my grandparents' house. And after that, there was multiple occasions where I was meant to go hang out with Summer and our friends, and I was so keen to see him, but it always blew over. So yeah, it was very tough that we didn't get to catch up much recently.
Yeah,
because I definitely would have loved for him to see how far I've come in especially the last few years. Because yeah, I was in a rough spot when he came and visit me at home, so didn't really feel like much of a. It would have been nice for him to see what he did for me has definitely paid off.
It's awesome, man.
But yeah, massive props to Shane, and yeah, shout out to Summer and the fam. They're awesome. It's actually her birthday the other week. That was a lot of fun.
SB?
No, run a mucket crown.
Oh,
bit of a step up from the SB.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was good. That was good fun.
Yeah, are you allowed to go to other venues, or
yeah,
they SB allow you to party at other places?
Yeah, I think somewhere in the contract.
Yeah,
it says I can go off.
Yeah, every now and then.
For only 21st at Crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but they're awesome. Summer's awesome. Can't thank them enough. And multiple people, and they know who they are. I couldn't bear them out without hundreds or thousands of people. And it's been as small as just a little message or a $1 coin, or
100%.
being by my side every day.
If there's a message out there now I know you can't speak of everyone, but personally to you in your circumstance, if there's a query or anything for someone out there today to go like how to best approach you or to talk to you in terms of like to make you just feel the best, what would that be? Would just be normal?
Yeah, just, I mean, it's like, how would you approach anyone? Like,
exactly. You
don't know anything about them. I don't know. The only thing you can really tell about me before you see me is just been through something. But, everything starts with a hey or a hello.
How you going?
Don't need to jump into anything like you would with anyone. But, people like to find out. Well, most people, when they talk to me, they like to, ask about my story. And, I like it because I feel like I can be eye-opening to them. And usually most of the time it leads to them telling them something about themselves that you learn something about them. So
really?
it's pretty cool. But yeah, just, be yourself and you'll learn a thing or two about someone. I found the biggest thing for me was routine.
Yeah.
Getting into a routine was a big step for me, because those first few years there was so much going on. I was all over the place, appointments, seeing doctors, new rehab to do, new rehab to try, new people to meet that want to help you. It was just all over the shop. And then the last few years I've been able to get into a pretty solid schedule with rehab and all that. And it gives me a lot more time to see my friends, to hang out with my family, to go and do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, my friends have always been a really good escape for me from the start, because no matter what appointment I was at, no matter what schedule I had on, when it was all over the place, I could always just resort back to seeing them and hanging out with them. That would always be a massive break for me. It's being able to take it a bit of just to get away from everything. I don't know. I'd say routine. Like,
yeah,
that's what I found.
And there doesn't, I suppose, like for that question, it's like I'm still trying to work that out for myself.
Yeah.
Let alone anyone. Like I'm still trying to work out what's best for me.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. Like you can get comfortable for a little bit,
Yeah.
and you try something new and you find that works better. So I don't know. I just stay open to trying stuff.
Yeah. What's your current situation at the moment? I know you're doing a lot of training, a lot of PT, getting strong, getting a lot of movement back. Like we're obviously coming in here every couple of weeks to do some work.
Yeah.
I've actually had to pull you up a few times. First week, I reckon you didn't do much. You were a pretty lazy worker, but you've gotten a lot better. You've gotten a lot better on the laptop especially.
It's really about the environment you put in to be successful, you know?
Yeah.
So I could pull you up.
Yeah, you could.
But I wouldn't do that to you.
Yeah.
I'll take the blame.
What do you want to do? Like what's your goals going forward? Do you know what that is yet? Like I feel like I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like there is something that you do want to tell your story. You want to be able to help.
That's a weird one because the whole situation doesn't have a end point.
Yeah.
I've always got to juggle what I want to do
Versus improving.
with that.
Yeah.
Now I could just completely throw it all away and then go and chase a dream, like chase a job or something that I want to do. But that's not what I want to do. I want to, no matter what, I'm always going to be rehab, fitness, like health first. So if that is go hard for the next year, or if that's go hard for the next 10 years, I don't know. But that'll always be my priority number one.
So priority number one is improving as much as possible every day.
Just continue, just going as far as I need to go.
To give the listeners, friends, and family, anyone listening to this context, from when the injury first happened, we spoke earlier, to where you are now with movement, what's like the jump of scale?
So
you said before, like moving 5 centimeters,
like literally any movement. The first,
yep,
probably. Well, in hospital, the first, which was those first 3 months, anything was like incredible. Like we would just be shocked that it happened. So like the first thing I did was I think my thumb moved a little bit. I moved my thumb a tiny bit. Like that was huge, and so that gives you a insight on that. And then to now, I'm in the gym, you know, lifting fairly heavy weights and I'm boxing. Hey, I love boxing. That's fun. I've got a few mates that are into it that train me a bit. Yeah, just like your normal gym session, doing like, you know, sled pulls with like 50 to 100 kilos. So massive improvements.
Huge.
And ever since I kind of hopped into that whole more like a regular gym scene, that's kind of where I started to flourish a bit more, just because it was definitely more set up for me. I was a lot happier, a lot more motivated to go and actually do it. So that's where it started getting a lot easier to see improvement. But yeah, so now it's not really, I don't know. It's definitely a lot different. Back then it was about getting as much movement as possible. Now it's staying fit and healthy. But as I said, there's no real end point. So it's kind of just, I don't know, next week something new could happen. It's kind of the beauty of it. Just kind of wait and see if you stick at it, which I'm doing and I'll do.
100%.
So yeah, I don't know. So I'm not really sure what I want to do.
So when you first went hospital, you said you could move like 5 centimeters to now.
Yeah. It was funny actually because so after my accident, I lost all sensation from my chest down. As I said, it's a very like unknown injury. They can't really tell you if that's going to come back or not. So I was slowly getting some sensation back in my, like I was patching my hands and my arms and on my chest and stuff, and that was coming back. So that was very optimistic. But one of my mates' dads, who would come and my mate would come and visit me heaps. He always said like, oh, you know, I'm gonna be the reason he can, you know, feel his feet again. I'm like, you're just fucking crazy. Anyway,
it's a bit creepy.
Anyway, yeah, he'd come in every few days, and he'd come and like mess around with my toes.
Right. Was it just you
And
two,
so
or
no,
there's other people?
it was fine. It was
Okay.
it was sensible.
Okay.
But we'd just be in my room and me and my mates would just be fucking around, and he'd just be standing there, messing with my toes, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, this one time he comes in, and he goes and does it again, and I didn't see him doing it, and I'm just like, I'm like, Brian, fuck off. And he's like, oh, how did you know I was doing it? I'm like, oh shit, I felt that. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, his prophecy was right.
Wow. So the massaging of the toes.
The messing with my toes was it worked.
How good is that?
So yeah, so he then continued to come in and fuck with my toes for the next 3 months.
That's huge.
Yeah, that was funny. That was it's pretty cool though, because definitely
Did you expect?
didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't told it was going to happen.
Wow.
So that was probably the first major.
This could be a dumb question as well with that, but to feel, like say the sensation of feeling something, does that correlate to movement, or are they two different things? Can you not feel things and move it?
Completely different.
Yeah, right.
So one is, so there's motor and sensory.
Yeah.
So
you can not feel a part, but also be able to move it versus.
So in some cases, people can get motor function back, but not sensory.
Yeah, right.
I remember hearing a story about a guy who he got his motor back, but not his sensory, and he went to drive it. He was driving a car, and I think he crashed because he couldn't feel it. His foot was pushing down on the brake.
Oh shit.
On the accelerator or something. So, but yeah, so I got I got a lot of sensory back. Still patchy in some spots, but I've got it obviously all the way down my feet, which is a massive plus. But the motor's the one I've got to work for. That's where all the training
comes
all the training and the rehab's for.
Yeah, and that's improving.
Getting that stuff back, and that it's just reps. It's just repetition.
100%.
I don't know. It's like teaching a baby to crawl again.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a fun journey.
You're often seen at the SB. We've brought that up a few nights tonight, and
yeah,
well, look, the question's got to be asked. It doesn't actually, but I'm going to anyway.
I think this will be a Dylan Alcott special, won't it?
Well, we'll ask that he sort of says this most talks that he does, and I think it's worth making it because you're very handsome. You're a very handsome man.
I appreciate that.
Very handsome. Probably up there with the most handsome with probably me. There's two. We're on par, I reckon.
It's a pretty good group in here.
Top two. There's some handsome. There's the Wolf. There's the handsome Darcy and us two. You wanted to make clear to me. You said, Dylan, before the main. You said the main thing of this podcast is people need to know.
Yeah, this is the whole point of the
everything.
Podcast. Yeah,
is working,
mate,
and it actually grew.
Full. Fuck's sake, bro.
You said that to me before you came in.
Oh God, I didn't. For the people watching, I didn't say that. But yeah, everything works.
That's fantastic.
I appreciate it, Dylan. You man me whenever you can.
Yeah, that's good for you, my friend. And single at the moment?
Very. Too busy on rehab. I'm married to the game of rehab.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that because you know what's when you get a bit older, like myself and maybe Sam, Darcy's still a little bit, he's in that young stage. It's always interesting to see how the people are mingling consensually on platforms.
Yeah, well,
are communicating. I was more of a text message guy, but now it's definitely on the. You're always on the Messenger,
Facebook Messenger. Yeah, that's the big one. At the moment, I don't know how that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been there for a while.
I don't even have Facebook anymore.
I don't use Facebook that much.
Just Messenger.
Yeah.
It's always dinging. It's always dinging while you're in here.
Off, yeah. My question is, when are we going to the SP together? Two handsome blokes, I
don't know if they could handle it. Mate, maybe us four will have to go up there.
You were there the other week.
I saw your sister.
Yeah, but
went there for
obviously not with the right intentions. Yeah. You just went there for lunch.
I went there for lunch upstairs with family. Yeah, and I'm a sensible young man.
I'm not at the point where I'm going there for nice lunches and leaving.
No, I drove.
There you go.
Yeah,
I don't drive there. I do drive though.
I was going to say driving. Yeah. So what's the go with that?
Funny that actually I've only just started driving the last few months because when I was 16, got my L's, but you can get cars converted to being hand controlled.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And so we started getting one of them made. So I was hoping to be driving at around 16, 17 years old, but COVID happened. So as soon as I get my P's, and I'll be able to drive here on my own, Dylan.
I'll
be here every day.
Man. It'll be good. Very, very good.
But keen for you to get an elevator in this place because for the people that haven't been here, there are 40 stairs at the front.
There are some stairs, and we do. But that's actually a really good. It's actually a good segue into this.
It's like ticking off.
We just got to get it fucking done. And I remember when I was talking to your mum about this, and she was like, "Oh, would you be keen to have him in?" I was like, "Not really." And then I was like, and then she's like, "Nah, please, you'd be doing me a massive favour." I was like, "Look, because it's for you, I'll do it."
Fair enough.
I was like, "No, of course, can't wait." But she was like, "Oh, this is the situation." I was like, "No, let's just fucking do it. Get over it. We get 2 guys at the front, 1 at the back. We just fucking pump it out. It takes 2 seconds.
It's quick."
And for me as well, what's been really cool eye opener is the fact that having what people might think is a deterrent for things. It's like when Dylan Alcott told the story. I know you listened to the podcast about the stairs at the party, and he's like, he's like, everyone's not inviting me to parties. What the fuck's going on? They wanted him there, but they were just too awkward to have the conversation about just picking someone up the stairs.
Yeah, no, that kind of goes back around to how good my friends have been for me.
Yeah.
I used to be or if I got invited to something or had to go somewhere, I would spend hours asking people like the host of something, are there stairs? What's accessibility like?
Yeah.
All this shit. I was so paranoid, but because of how good my friends were, it quickly became didn't even have to ask.
Yeah.
I just knew if I had them there, I could do absolutely whatever.
You make it work.
Yeah.
It's not going to be sometimes it's not going to be perfect, and we can get a lot better in that space, especially here, with the stairs.
We've got me and mate's got our own funny party story.
Yeah.
So this is at probably year 9, and so this is in between when I was still a bit frantic about going to unknown places and stuff. And me and a few mates got invited to some after party for a formal or something, and I texted the host and invited me, and I'm like, "Oh, what's the situation with the accessibility?" And they're like, "Oh, it's all good. It's flat, 1 level venue. You're fine." The venue's on the other side of the city, so hour drive at night. We're like, "All right, it's all good. Let's go." Now, I didn't drink till I was 18 because I followed the rules of the law.
Loser.
But my other friends not quite so.
Yep.
So year 9. How old are you in year 9?
15.
15?
Yeah. Jesus, that's a bit young, boys.
Okay, maybe it was 16. My mates were definitely 16 at the time.
Yeah, wow.
And back then all it took was 2 drinks and to be pissed.
Still does.
So, yeah. 2 cruises. But yeah, so we drive 50 minutes, an hour to the other side of the city, get to this real rogue area, and it's got this venue. We get there, the bottom floor's all open, and we get there about half an hour late, and I don't see anyone. Fuck, are we in the right spot? I'm like, yeah, this is it. We go in, these parents come up to me and they go, "Oh, you must be Will." I'm like, "Yeah, where the fuck's the party?" My 2 mates are behind me trying not to fucking trip over each other because they're fucked. And they're like, "Oh, there's 3 flights of 20 stairs in the back corner. You got to get up." I'm like, "Oh, so there must be an elevator." "No. Would you like the security guys to come help you lift?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Anyway, these guys come over. It's these 2 frail old blokes.
Oh no.
I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to get my 2 blind friends to lift me up. I would much rather trust them. So my 2 mates who are off their head,
Inebriated,
lift me up 65 stairs, and I was shit scared. And these 2 security guys are trying to help. I'm like, "No, just fuck it. Just let the boys do it. They know what they're doing." I think that was the groundbreaking moment of if we can do that, we can probably do
We can do
anything.
anything.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was funny.
And you're also becoming super independent, moving out in the next...
Moving out, yeah.
How long?
Well, so mum and dad moved out on me a few years ago. As harsh as that sounds. Pre-COVID, they moved up to Cabarita with the two younger siblings because my older sister was up on the Gold Coast doing uni. So I was on my own, obviously with living with carers.
Yep.
Around the clock. But I was on my own for a year and a half, maybe nearly 2 years. Well, actually, that's a lie. I'm still on my own. But they moved back down to Melbourne, kind of when COVID got a bit crazy. But now the plan is they're moving back into the family home that I'm in at the moment as soon as I'm out. Just because I've gotten so used to being on my own, and it's a lot different to living with a whole family in the house.
100%.
It's funny because as when that happened, everyone was like, "Oh, you're lucky." Every kid's dream, you're on your own, or at the age of 18, don't have to worry about any parents in the house and shit. At first, like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, but then you start to kind of realize, it's actually a lot nicer having your family in the house. Yeah, it's been tough not being able to come home and just hang out with. It's like hanging out with friends, really, but you don't have to go out and see them. With the whole rehab and the schedule and routine thing I was talking about, it did make that a lot easier. Yeah, living independently or as independent as possible. That was a big step up, going from family to no family. But it's a lot better now that they're back around the corner. Yeah. But yeah, moving out.
I've been lucky enough to meet your mum, obviously, a lot of times, your dad, Nick and sister Tess. I haven't met your other two siblings.
You haven't met the Rascals.
I haven't met the Rascals, but you must be pretty proud and love them a fair bit for a lot of the support, like both ways that you've given each other over the time. I can imagine it'd be a pretty challenging period.
Definitely. It's definitely been a roller coaster for them as well, especially the two, all the siblings, the younger ones as well, especially just because what they would have been like. I don't even know how young they were 7 years ago, like 8 and 5 or something. So it's not the easiest to bring up for two little kids when at the time where your parents should have all their attention on you. It's not. It's on your older brother who shouldn't have any of the attention anymore. So they've done really well. There's not many words you can say about it other than that they've killed it just as much as I have. Yeah. And then obviously mum and dad, they were the ones who had to give me the attention. So without their drive, I would have been in hospital for a year. I would have, probably been a lot further back than what I am now. So that I was lucky that it was I had got mum and dad driving it. Yeah. And some people definitely aren't as fortunate as what I was to have such a supportive friendship group and community, and especially family, because some people would just have to follow the traditional path that they want to give you. So I'll never take that for granted, because I've definitely seen a lot of other people in similar situations as me without the opportunity that I've had, and it definitely has paid off for me that I've had it. So that's why I don't really ever want to stop. That's why because I question myself a lot, and a lot of people question me back then. People at the hospital, people that you'd meet, they'd tell you, the choices you're making are wrong. Like, there's no point, or we reckon you should take this path. And I'm like, no, I feel like that'd just be kind of taking all these opportunities I've been given for granted and not doing the most with it. So I feel like I've taken this fairly right path with what I've been given, and as I said, yeah, it's definitely paid off. But that has definitely come from the backbone of mum and dad and the siblings and stuff, and my grandparents who let me stay at the house for 2 years, and the community, raising money, friends always being there. it's a pretty big team.
It is, man. It's incredible, and they wouldn't do it if you weren't such a good dude.
About time you admitted it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to, but I had to. No, but you're an inspiration, mate. I don't say that lightly. It's been incredible to get to know over the last sort of few months, and I know this is just not the beginning for you in terms of telling your story, but just the beginning for hopefully all of our friendship here, and what you're doing at the studio, and whatever you want to do. You're always welcome to come in and get things done. But yeah, we love having you around, man. We love it, and I think it's a really cool time for you. I feel like you're starting to really take off and work out, learn a lot about yourself that you haven't probably given a lot to before. And I think today's just a beginning. We fumbled around and just got through your story. It definitely won't be the last time that we hear from you. I know that, whether that's in about anything else. I know you're a mad basketball fan. You think you know anything about everything about the NFL. I don't know if that's true or not, but you feel like you do. But it's exciting. I'm excited for what's next, and I'm blessed to sit down and have a chat with you today about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate it. I'm glad I could come on, comfortable space and speak about it. Definitely hasn't been something I never really thought about. Like, I never put a timestamp on it when I was going to speak about it. So being able to come in and feel like this is the right space to do it definitely says something about you guys and what you guys are doing. So thanks for having me on. And just the beginning.
You'll be back, brother. We'll be doing a lot more. But yeah, can't thank you enough, mate. It's going to be an exciting time, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. And can't thank you enough for your openness and honesty with your situation, because I know it's going to impact a lot of people and obviously help tell your story too a little bit.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. No, thanks for listening.
Done.